Hi guys, welcome to the next episode of the Book Talk. With me, Fan, and we have our guest today, Mr. Alain. Okay, Alain, how are you today?
I'm good.
Wow, it feels so weird. I'm holding a mic and you're not. So
Yeah, exactly. You're the boss. That's why.
Usually boss don't hold the mic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Anyway,
so
let's get started, yeah?
Yep. So for this episode of Book Talk, how many books have you
So
brought?
actually I have four, I have a few books at home, so I chose four books where I really I like quite a lot, yeah? And that to show a little bit what I like in photography. So there's four books. So one is around North Korea, the other one is a vanished country, the East Germany.
Nice.
This one is all about China from a French magnum photographer, and this one, the last one, is by Ren. Is also a French photographer, very dear to me. I've seen his exhibition in Paris 2 years ago.
Nice. So I noticed that your books are all very thick. It's very rare nowadays to even see a thick. Even the MacBook nowadays is very thin.
That's right. Because actually, this is an interesting thought. Because books, frankly, I self-published a few books, and I've been very careful to choose just a few pictures. And frankly, it's a bit overwhelming. Yeah, I would not do such a big book. Yeah, but okay. I mean, all photographs are pretty good, but maybe you could do it. But this guy's done many books, probably 30 books. So right. I think it's good.
I mean, if you guys are wondering why some of the books are very thick, you need to understand that the photographers don't do their work over a course of 1 year.
That's right.
So it's a series of few years, and
especially this guy. I mean, this is books of all his life. Yeah, he died in 2000 something.
Okay.
And he's been shooting for 60 years. So it's about 60 years of photography, which is pretty amazing. Thomas Hopkins, he was posted in Germany, in East Germany for many years. So he's a view of what the life there. And Mark Hebu had the luxury in the 60s and 70s to go many times to China and see what's happening there. And Philippe Chancel went there under control, but went in the early 2000s in the North Korea.
Nice.
At that time of the previous president in power. So very interesting.
Okay, so just wondering, does all this book actually inspire you to start your journey in photography?
Yeah, actually quite a lot, and I think it's a representation of the kind of photography I like to do. Yeah, I'm quite interested in in what happened, right? The past, the history. So the DDR East Germany doesn't exist anymore. This China you'll see in that book, and I'll show some photographs later, is vanishing as well.
Yes.
I think it's very real, this one, because it's still the country hasn't changed much in 10 years probably. Right. Yeah. So I think this is what is interesting, and you see this is really more. It's not about landscape photography. That's more about daily life of people, street photography. A lot of them, yeah. Within the constraints of the photographer and the equipment at that time sometimes, but it's very nice. And you see, I'm not really geared towards black and white or color, because here the two in black and white, this one is fully in color. And interesting. What I like a lot is that you can browse it here anytime.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful about books.
True.
You don't need to turn on your PC or your computer, go through your archive or go online.
Yeah.
And I think photography needs to be printed. Are meant to be printed.
Yeah, true. I mean, as a photographer myself, I also believe that when you see photos in digital and on print, it's different. Yeah, I know, because print you need to take into the consideration of the paper use, and your printer you need to you need to set it up, to get the proper color out. Yeah, even though it's black and white, I shoot black and white. And when you print on a normal printer, sometimes you don't come out black and white. Yeah, you need to set your printer properly to the CMYK or whatever settings you have it, And some of them, like I think some of these photographers actually shoot on film. Yeah, and
all of them I think shot on film,
all of them
for sure actually.
And film, you need to see a printed one. It's way more nicer than on digital.
Yeah, you had no choice, right, at that time.
I don't know. It's either we are old or
I don't know. It's different look and feel.
Yeah, it's different look and feel.
When you look at how obsessed we are about gear and technology these days, I mean, these guys didn't care so much about focusing and exposure.
True, yes.
Because anyway, the guy who did the job are the guys in the lab, the dark lab, yeah?
Yes, true.
Who actually managed to rescue, if you like.
Yeah,
and not focused.
Secondly, what they are documenting is stories. They are documenting stories, so they don't focus more on like, oh, should I get this sharp and stuff, because once you miss it, that's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what I like a lot about these books, more these 3 books than this one, is that there's a lot of stories behind and we'll talk a bit about it. Actually, each photograph there's a little bit of a story of where it was taken, the context and all that, which helps a little bit kind of visualize a bit better the life at that time. Yeah. So
Nice.
very interesting.
Okay, so let's go to the first book.
So we can talk about the first book, and what I'd like to talk about is this place. I went twice actually to North Korea, and as you know, North Korea has been sealed off from the rest of the world for about 70 years, now. And Philippe Chancel is a French photographer, still alive in his 60s, and had the opportunity to go to North Korea about more than 10 years ago, and actually do. So I would like to show you some of the picture. So you'll see it's very stylized, the pictures in this book.
Okay.
Because actually, when you go in North Korea, everything is very much organized in terms of your itinerary, what you're going to see. And obviously, like any place in the world, they show you things that they want to show you, which are usually looking good and stuff. So you'll see is very stylized, and the picture. So one of the pictures I like is, so it doesn't exist anymore. This is the airport, view of the airport,
nice.
Arrival at the airport here in Pyongyang.
Actually, it's a nice photo. If the younger kids want to see this photo, they will say, "Oh, very minimal."
Very minimal, yeah.
It's the current thing, right?
Yeah, and actually this is very much a good portrait of North Korea, because when you go there, you see many scenes like that. Not very much actually, right? Mm-hmm. But very always organized, very clean, very. So obviously he had a tripod here, put it, so he was authorized to photograph. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he would not be. So this is a bit posed, yeah, of course. It's not the kind of point and shoot type of photography, but I think it represents a little bit what is North Korea today. Yeah. So that's one picture. Then another picture is obviously the street of Pyongyang here, and here you can see the tram. There are a couple of tram lines, but not many cars. And that it was taken many years ago. But I was there in 2019 twice, and it's still the same. Not many. There's an amazing subway and a pretty good road tramway system working, but not many cars, as you can see. So that's kind of a traditional, pretty common view of Pyongyang this way. So it's just really the daily life. And a lot of people say, "Oh, everything is staged and stuff." I think nothing. I don't think it's true. It's just people go about their daily life and just go there. It's just everything is under wrap, so not much happening. So of course, very few people, very few cars. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you guys see in this photo, there's only one car.
So here, this picture by itself is not spectacular. If you look at the composition and stuff, right? But I think it's a good representation of North Korea, of Pyongyang.
I've seen the photos, the one you shot. No, and if you compare, because you just went recently, and you compare with this guy who shot this 10 years ago, you can see the similarities. No, that's one of the few reasons why photography, you have a few genres lah. No, and one of it is storytelling. Because storytelling doesn't mean I'm gonna shoot today, the story will be there and there. No. People will see this photo maybe 10 years down the road. They will say, "Oh, it's like that. It's like this."
Yeah, I believe in the power of documenting as well, right?
Yep.
What was life, what's going on, and if you look at this book and the other books, yeah, of course, they are documenting a period of time. Yeah. So this is what I found also very interesting in photography, is the ability to document over many years. Yeah, life of a country or people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then this is another view of Pyongyang. You see here a few more cars, but obviously very wide avenue. I think it's good. Is a good description of what life is currently there.
Yeah.
Lots of constructions, right? New construction building where they house people. So this is Pyongyang, yeah.
Yeah, I mean this photo is to me is good because you don't really see all this public housing being featured, on media, normal media.
Right.
Yeah, and from what I see, it's actually quite similar to Singapore. Only the number of cars is lesser lah.
Lesser.
Yeah.
What, the avenue a bit wider, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it? No.
It's a bit wider, but if you see it in a glance, it might look like at the expressway PIE area, where you have public housing on left and right. It have that similar Singapore feel.
So I think So I think this is Pyongyang, and then one more picture I'd like to see. This is a bit some drive-by shooting. The photographer was in a car, and then he took this policewoman actually, and this is a bit of a disappearing scene. This one, because actually they've started retiring these policewomen that you see at major crossroad. You still see them a little bit, and always impeccably dressed and perfectly choreographed. And here I had the chance to snap that picture. Interesting. So something you will not, I don't think you will see if you go there once.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a nicely photographed lah. I mean, if you guys are not into the technicality of all the photograph, the photos are not sharp. Honestly, these photos are not sharp. I can see where is the sharpest point compared to the main subject, but in storytelling, I think that don't really matter, because at the end of the day, like I say, if he missed this shot, means he's gonna miss it.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is why the books are interesting, I think, because as you said, this is a story. Yeah. Individually, the pictures are not very interesting, but as a story,
yes,
one after that makes a lot of interest, and you'll see in the other book. So that's what I wanted to show a little bit about Korea, North Korea.
Nice.
A few pictures. So a very interesting book, yeah. So here the school, the museum, and a few more. So everything is. Oh, here you see another policeman, another policewoman here. So they tend to disappear. I don't know the reason.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
I actually want to ask, why do we need them?
I think
there's no car.
There's not much. Yeah. As you know, the state provides a job to everybody, so I think. And you've seen this picture of the mass games, a few times, etc. And they're pretty interesting to celebrate the government and the power of the government. So and you have people behind all of these
placards,
and they move, and it's heavily choreographed, and a lot of so very interesting. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, any idea if this book is still available?
Actually, that book, is still available, and you can get it in English if you prefer. It's a nice. I think it's a nice book, and I bought it many years ago, and I was never planning to go to North Korea. I quite liked it because of the aesthetic. Yeah.
Okay. So you got this book before you went there?
Oh yeah. I got it before. Yeah.
So did you actually? When you returned home from North Korea, you actually open up?
No, I opened the book, exactly. Yeah. And it's interesting because I had a bit the same feeling. Some of the scenes, are there. So this one, definitely not, because that's the old airport. And now they have a new airport. I think the new airport is in functions the last 2-3 years. So this is changing, And you see, this is the old airport,
Interesting.
So they have the amazing mosaics on walls, and here this is the waiting room, and everything is spotless, a bit like in Singapore,
Yeah, a bit like Singapore. I mean, the cleanliness level also same.
So everything is run by, you gotta understand, everything is run by the government, right? There, and of course they want to portray a good image. Like any place you go, right? They want to portray a good image, so everything is pretty. What you see is pretty spotless. I mean, I got access a little bit. I went to the countryside. It's a little different story.
Okay, nice. All right. So you guys.
So that was
If you guys.
So I highly recommend that book, Thames and Hudson, from Philippe Chancel. He's interesting guy. You can Google it on YouTube as well. You'll find it. Very interesting book. Thank you.
Let's go to the second book.
So the second book is by Thomas Hopkins. He's also a magnum photographer, which I had the pleasure to to come and listen here too in Singapore.
I was there too.
You were there too?
It's
Matthias
yeah, Matthias was
was
there.
moderating actually.
I was there with Ricky, the guy behind the camera today.
Okay.
Yeah.
And actually, I didn't know him before.
Okay.
Happened. So actually, I discovered his work during this projection, and then I bought that book. So this is East Germany, and he's a magnum photographer. He's still alive. He's a bit old, but he was a magnum photographer, and he was posted in East Germany in the 70s, I believe, for the magazine Stern.
Yes.
And he spent many years there, and here are some pictures of life basically in East Germany.
East Germany, yes.
East Germany, yeah. So very interesting. So just the fact the wall I think was established in the early 60s, 61, and it came down, as everybody knows, in 1989. Yeah.
89, yes,
yeah,
correct.
Exactly.
Yes.
So here a few. So here this is an interesting picture of the book from the west side, yeah, in the 70s. In 63 actually. So we shot a lot in black and white and in color, obviously. So for me, typical action type of photography, right, with kids playing, one guy on the wall. So very dynamic, obviously not staged, yeah. So he was there.
Yeah.
He probably did a few shots. So the kind of photography I like, yeah.
I did ask him a question during the time when he was here. So I asked him, so how do you compose a shot? So his answer when he gave me, right, I don't compose. I just go there, I snap whatever I see.
Exactly.
Yeah. And technically, that's how you another way of how you wanna document a story, because what your eyes see is what you wanna capture. Exactly. So you got no time to compose, you know. So like go there and just,
So so the wall was built in 61. Here's a few years later, and so families were separated. The same city, as you know, Berlin, So an interesting picture. Another one here is I like that one. Is just shows that people have a life and they wanted to kind of even they were living in difficult conditions. Yep. They still managed to get some free time. Yeah. So here you see I think it's a lady or a guy. Yeah.
It's a lady. Yeah.
Yeah. On the roof or on the rooftop. Yeah. Taking a sun bath. Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, probably a bit of a paparazzi picture, yeah, because I don't know where the photographer was, but is those kind of scenes you don't see these days.
Yes, true.
Anymore.
In fact, I don't think the building will be around.
Yeah, probably the building is not around. You see the roof is in bad shape here, that thing. But still, so people need to get out of their stress.
Need to live their normal life.
Normal life and all the rest, yeah. So this is for me a bit characteristic picture of that time, yeah. Then another picture, of course, show of power, very important, yeah, for these states. So here, like a parade showing the missiles and all the rest. As you know, yeah, the territory was divided between east and west, and was heavily occupied by the Russians, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and you see the caption. I mean, the text here, right? I think it's the national anthem.
That's the national anthem on the right side, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And from this image, you also can see all these logos does not exist anymore. See, this is part of history.
Yeah.
The colors, yes, but I mean the logos and stuff. If no one take this kind of photo, right, we won't know. Yeah.
So I think this is the power of documentary, and for sure when he took the picture, people were not very interested, yeah? They said, we've seen that before, we live there, so, but years later, I think this is the power of photography. It brings back these to life these memories.
True. I mean, like documentary, I mean, not only for photo, any documentary, like it's not to show people during that time, because if you're gonna show it to like say this photo, you're gonna show people on that time, they will like what you say. No, it's normal. I've seen this every day, but 30 years down the road, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, this exists. Yeah.
So I think this is the power. This is what attracted me. That is a part of the world that doesn't exist. This is a regime that doesn't exist. Yeah. But there was a photographer there who did some interesting shot of the daily life, and this is, I think, interesting to bring forward and remember. And here this is
Nice.
an interesting. So here you see a Trabant, yeah, the famous two-stroke car actually. Yeah, it was using there was a two-stroke like the small
motorbike,
motorcycle,
yeah.
yeah. And here the government encouraged actually the births, yeah. In China they were controlling one child per. There it was kind of the opposite, trying to push. So here you see a dad here pushing his child in a pram, yeah. So so I think those kind of scenes, yeah. You don't see these prams anymore.
Yeah, we
you
don't see this pram, correct,
guys dressed like this.
Yeah.
Here's a paved road, now there's asphalt pretty much everywhere, Trabant, etc. So yeah, again, not a stage photograph, yeah. Just show a little bit how life was. Here on the left side is the same, yeah. Here's a lady in uniform pushing a pram. So very interesting portrait of the daily life of people, and this is what really I like in photography.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, for me, like personally, like when I look at this kind of image, I can just stare into this image for minutes, you know, like for a while, then just try to understand what the photographer want to say, want to share, but at the same time, it's pleasing to the eyes. Yeah, even though you know that during this period, it's not a good period.
Right.
But when you try to appreciate the images, right, like, oh, it's actually nice, then you can figure out, oh, actually there's a story behind it, why he want to take this kind of photo. Because if you just go through in a glance, like, okay, I don't know why. But when he shoot in a series, you know, like, okay, there's a few things he wanted to portray.
So actually, I was saying color, no, not just color, black and white, also color. And interesting, yeah, also you see the way people dress. You see the tie going up to half. So those kind of things you don't see.
Yeah.
More fashion has evolved, things dress differently. So yeah, different time, different era, different manners and stuff.
This kind of photo is actually important, you know, because without this imagery, right?
Right.
The current fashion designer cannot even like have reference to go back to.
Exactly.
So if let's say I want to do a 60s fashion, like, oh, I need to do a research. So like, oh yeah, he's wearing this kind of pants, you know, all the bell bottoms, like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So. So that's the second book here from Thomas Hopkins.
Yeah, I think the book is also still around, guys.
Yeah. So I highly recommend it. He's got a few other. He did a very famous, controversial picture on 9/11.
9/11, yes, he's famous for that. Yeah.
Famous for that. Again, this is controversial because in a sense because he didn't ask permission. But again, right, when you do photography, yes, you can ask permission. If you're in North Korea, you need to ask permission. But this kind of a lot of these pictures you don't want to ask permission because otherwise you lose a little bit the instant the natural aspect. Yeah.
Yep.
So sometimes people don't like, but then you go away, right? Yeah. You have to feel.
I mean, it depends on the situation. If you need that moment.
So highly recommended. Yeah. This one, a different moment in time. Now another different moment in time is this also another Magnum photographer. That was Mark Hebu. I met him in Hong Kong actually in '97. He did an exhibition, or '98. Yeah, a very nice gentleman. And he spent contrary to, he's not a war photographer. He's never covered any war. Yeah, he was more a humanist kind of photographer. He spent a lot of time in China. So he did a book on all these pictures of China, and some of them you might have seen. Yeah. Very nice. So this is the Forbidden City. Probably it's impossible. It would be impossible today to do such a shot because I was there 2 years ago, and it's so crowded with so many people.
Yes, true.
That it's just like
touristy location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very interesting, very peaceful. I went to the Forbidden City in '93. It was actually quite quiet. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a bit quiet, not as quiet, but fairly quiet. So a very interesting picture in black and white, a lot of contrast. Yeah, again showing a moment in time. Yeah, that is probably not.
This was shot in 1957.
Yeah, it says in 57.
1957. Yeah. So you can see, like, I mean, like, say, part of history, the buildings is still intact. You know?
Intact, exactly. Yeah. So this is an interesting one. Another one, very interesting, very famous. As I was saying before, as you see the cutout of the kids, I let you imagine what it's used for. And actually, it's interesting. The kids these days don't wear that. But when I was there in the Forbidden City in '93, actually, there was a kid I took a picture. He had exactly the same type of sweater. And here, this I like this very charming picture of these 3 kids walking down an alley in Beijing. And I think it was in '57 in Beijing as well.
I mean, it don't look like Beijing, you know.
No, I think it's the Beijing side that also probably hard to see these days.
Yeah, correct.
The Hutong, I think, have been erased or destroyed.
Yeah, I think all this. I don't think this place existed anymore. Because
Probably,
this, yes, it's in
yes.
China. You can have that feel, but
Yeah.
if there's no caption, I might even say, oh, this might be in Europe. So you'd have that Europe feel. Yeah.
So I think all these photographers you see here, Hopkins, Philippe Chancel and stuff, they are not here to carry necessarily. They're not against the regime. They're here more to portray the daily life.
Yes.
So this is why they had quite good access, unparalleled access, were not censored or in any way, because their objective was more to document daily life than talking about the politics or bringing a message. Yeah.
True.
And I think this is an interesting aspect. So yeah, again, very nice picture. This one is one of my favorites.
Oh.
Is an amazing composition. Yeah, it's taken from the inside, and this is the power of photography. There's layers. There's the photographer, the window, the lady. There's a few more, and pretty much everything is well lit and
it's literally frame in frame.
Very frame in frame. Yeah.
Frame in frame. Yes.
So you see, I don't know how many shots he did. He probably did a few, waiting for the people to align. Yeah. But very interesting here. A small lady talking. So really, very nicely composed type of picture, without much awareness, right, of what's going on.
Yeah,
Maybe that
true.
guy, not is the photographer. So very beautiful picture. Then, oops, sorry. Yeah, and this is Shanghai from the Bund, and you probably saw this tower is still there. But now you have like hundreds, a few more. You would not recognize actually. Yeah.
I think back then this used to be the.
Was it in
95?
Oh, 95, yeah.
So back then this was the highest, tallest building there. But now there are a few more.
So I went to Shanghai actually around that time, and it's true it was not heavily constructed on that side, on the Pudong side, but a lot more on the other side. There were construction sites all over the place. Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. So I think that was the start of the construction boom, and now they have, I think, a few more. Very
Not
high.
a few more, I think a lot more.
So a very interesting humanist photographer who had quite unparalleled access in the 50s and 70s
So nice.
in China and under Mao's time. So very interesting, yeah. And you have some contacts and all that.
Yeah.
So very highly recommended as well, guy. He's done a few books. Marc Hebu, very interesting guy. Yeah. And then last but not least, a bit heavy.
Yeah.
So Willy Ronis, is at the same time. Everybody knows probably Henri Cartier-Bresson, right? He was at the same time, and I would say he was a really humanist photographer. He shot mostly in France. He traveled a bit overseas, but mostly in France. He was after the war in the 50s. So there was a lot of reconstruction, a lot of joy, and you can see in his picture, but also a lot of poverty. So he spent a lot of time in the streets of Paris, around there, and taking shots. Yeah. Nice. Very nice guy. Yeah.
Yep.
So this is one of his. He shot here. This is one dancing, impromptu dancing, and nice composition with the.
This is post-war.
Post-war, exactly. You
post-war.
see, 47. You see open air dance, Okay, here is 47, just after the war, So people were joyous, were happy. Reconstruction was going on, of course, was not easy, but so he was roaming the streets, of France and Paris, and took a lot of very happy pictures, such as one. Yeah. So again, great composition. Of course, waited. Yeah.
Yep.
For the good moment to snap the picture. But I think.
But it's a nice photo, no? Because like from this photo, we can know that there's influence by the States. Because I know in France back then you won't have this kind of dancing.
Yeah,
it's more for the States.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I think it's very hard to shoot in my point of view in vertical.
Yes.
Because you need to feel the frame, yeah?
Yes.
And he managed to feel the frame. There's this couple watching here, having a aperitif probably, or something, and a few drinks, and then the dancing. So this is a very. This is also, this is in Belleville, yeah? It's one of the, this is probably a kind of job that doesn't exist anymore. So that guy is carrying glass for broken windows.
Oh, okay.
So he goes, and that was a job at that time. They would go around and walk around.
Okay, and collect this glass.
And not collect, would change it.
Oh, change. Okay.
Yes, you got a broken glass and all the rest. Yeah. So they changed.
Nice,
so this guy would just walk around the whole day, and people would just hail them and because people would not call or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean back
so they
then,
would go around.
yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
So yeah, very interesting. So he obviously very strong backlit with a shadow, so a nice picture. But also, what I like a lot is a job that does not exist anyway.
Yeah.
People still need to have their windows replaced and stuff, but these days they call. You never see people walking around with on their back with windows. So yeah, a good view. Again, you see 48, yeah, so very early days, yeah. And this is yeah, you've probably seen that picture before. This is on the Seine, yeah. This is Ile Saint-Louis here, and you still see because these barges go up and down, yeah, to deliver goods. But what is interesting was on the bridge, and there were these kids here playing on the empty barge in the down there. So it was when was it?
1959.
In 59. So again, 10 years after, 14 years after the end of the war. So, and this is what I like about photography because it's not staged, right?
Yeah, it's not staged.
You got to be there. You got to be alert. You got to be curious and look around.
Yep.
And then here, that barge came and these two kids, so makes a great picture here. You got to be ready, of course.
Yep.
But I think this is the pleasure of photography: is this ability to capture this moment of life, which are unpredictable. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a rare scene, so I don't think nowadays you can really see kids playing in the barge.
Actually, it could be. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, actually.
Because
Yeah,
nowadays everyone at home playing computer games.
Computer. Yeah. Like you, right?
Yeah.
And this is one of his, also a very, one of his famous picture here. You see, so what you don't see here below is the subway, because I had a subway in Paris, yeah. And here you see this is the Belleville, and actually under the stair they are kind of playing. I don't know what they're doing here, but they're kind of hiding and playing on this grid. And I think below is the subway, so usually pretty warm.
Nice.
Stuff, yeah. So very interesting.
And
Again,
it's nice how he composed all the.
yeah, the picture is lovely composed and everything.
Yeah.
So I think it makes a good thing. Yeah, it's interesting because he did quite a few shots vertical. Yeah, if you look at it. Yeah, actually,
true.
yeah, this one as well. Yeah, beautiful. Actually, this one is in Venice.
Venice,
actually,
yeah.
Very different. So obviously, amazing silhouette here and the background. So a good framing and stuff. Perfect. Yeah.
A good photographer, because when you're shooting on film, it's not easy to get this kind of silhouette and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Good printer as well. Yeah.
Yeah, good printer. Yes, that's important.
They say 80% is the printer, you know, between them. They say, when a good picture, they say 80% is the printer, the darkroom guy,
Yes.
and 20% the. But in the public, they say 50-50.
50-50.
And I believe, yeah, because frankly, I agree, to make such a print consistently,
Yep. It's not easy.
it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Because there's strong light, but
Yeah. Now it's easier because you have Photoshop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back then it was darkroom. It wasn't.
So yeah, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, what I wanted to. So a lot of pictures here. Very interesting one. This one. They don't exist anymore, but I remember in my childhood because they've been around every time. This phone phone booth. Yeah, you see, you can put the coins here. They're pretty stylized and
Yeah, it's nice.
You could make some cool, very interesting. But it's much later. You see 79, yeah. Yeah, I was 13 at that time, yeah. So I saw them, yeah, I remember, yeah. So yeah, so he's been around. He died a few years ago. He had a major exhibition, and I bought this book here because I saw his exhibition, which a lot of these prints here, and he's an amazing guy. And again, if you Google his name here on YouTube, like any of them, yeah, you'll see there's a lot of documentary or interviews of these guys. They're very interesting. So you'll see some of these pictures. So very charismatic and very non-arrogant, very humanist type of photographer. So highly recommended. Yeah.
I think this one will also be still available in the market.
Probably this one. Yeah.
Yep. So
it's a bit on the
nice.
heavy side, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys are wondering why some of us buy books, it's actually really worth it, because for the amount you pay, right, it's really, I think, uncomparable to the amount of work they put into.
Oh yes, exactly right. Because these books cost anything from 40, 50, seeing to 100, kind of. And you have access to actually some of the best photography,
yes,
right?
Correct. Yeah. And honestly, it's like
well made, yeah.
For sure, with the images in this book, right, you won't even see it being printed outside. Yeah, because in exhibition, you don't print the whole book.
No,
it's
for sure.
curated. So some of the images maybe only be seen inside.
Exactly. So yeah, so at home I have what, maybe 100.
We stay in the library, guys.
So my wife is very worried because every time I go around, I come back with a few books. But I really like it, yeah. And you see different style, different era, different countries, and I think that's the beauty.
That's the
of
beautiful part, yes.
So obviously great photographer, but a great way to travel as well through books and see pictures.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alain, for sharing with us your favorite book.
Thank you so much.
We hope to see your book next time.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
So guys, thanks for watching.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Thanks.